Hi guys, this is Vidas.
And Ausra.
Let's start episode 225 of Ask Vidas and Ausra podcast. This question was sent by Steven, and we are continuing our discussion about what makes a good free theme, let's say, for a prelude, because in a previous podcast we talked about the fugal theme. So let's look at our example of BWV 541, Prelude and Fugue in G major by Bach, and we discussed the fugue in the previous conversation. And the theme, of course, doesn't start right from the beginning, right? It's a flourish. It's like a passaggio, right, Ausra?
Yes, and in terms of when talking about prelude is so distinct from the fugue.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely different because the main purpose of prelude is to set up the key for a fugue. So it has very often more improvisatory character.
Mm-hmm.
Or more virtuoso character. It can be like toccata.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you have to create a specific subject, to a prelude because it's not a fugue.
Maybe you could use several rhythmic elements to create certain episodes, because with Bach, later in his life when he matured and studied works of not only German composers like Buxtehude, but also Italian composers like Vivaldi, he created what we call a ritornello prelude. Remember this recurring melodic idea which could be found throughout the prelude in various shapes, in original key, in other keys, related keys, in a shortened, expanded version. It suits like a constructing material for the entire prelude.
Yes, but you are talking now about more sophisticated, preludes, more complex preludes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking more about, simpler ones.
Uh-huh.
As I'm not talking about what you just meant, like prelude of E flat major,
With 3 episodes.
Yes, with 3 episodes. But in terms when I'm thinking about prelude, just imagine that you come to an, strange instrument that you see for the first time, strange organ, and you sit down on the organ bench and you want to
try it out.
To try it out.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that's what the prelude is about.
It's an introduction to the fugue.
True.
In this case, then, what you need to think about is the tonal plan only.
Sure.
Maybe just one melodic, harmonic, and rhythmical idea which you could use in various keys. Right? For example, let's take the first prelude from the Well-Tempered Clavier. The fugue is very complex with
yes, it's one of the most complex
4 parts and many canons. But the prelude is so simple that it starts
True.
like a arpeggiated chordal
It's
texture.
like basically, long cadence. Harmonic cadence.
With the cadence in G major, this means in a dominant key.
Yes.
Then I think it goes to D minor, to what second scale degree chord or key. It might touch, of course, relative minor, which is A minor. And towards the end, it has what? Dominant pedal point?
True, and then it resolves to a tonic, yes.
Tonic pedal point at the end, with excursion to the subdominant key and plagal cadence.
But it's, it has all the same figure over and over again,
yes,
throughout the entire piece.
That's plenty for entire prelude. It's of course a short prelude. For a more sophisticated writing, this could be just the first episode, right?
Could be, yes.
Maybe a little bit long, but half of it could be for the first episode, and you could actually you could take 3 Bach's preludes from well-tempered clavier with the same meter and use the same figures in alternation to create something similar to E-flat major prelude by Bach, BWV 552.
True, and of course, when you select the key for your prelude, you could also think about, the message that key brings, to you, or, to a musical world.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm thinking about the same C major prelude and then C minor prelude from well-tempered clavier volume first. How different we are. Remember the second, that C minor prelude? How dramatic it is.
Well, yes, it's like a toccata.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely like a toccata. Fast motion all the time, very virtuosic.
But also no imitations, no fugal elements, just simply arpeggiating those chords between 2 hands. And the same is with D minor, probably. Some of I remember preludes from well-tempered claviers, like E-flat major. It has already imitations, so it's more advanced writing. And Bach loved to create imitation episodes within the prelude too.
True.
Like in C minor Prelude and Fugue for the organ, 546.
Because that's a good technique, to develop your piece, to make it longer.
And more interesting.
True.
Because when you write imitations, it's like a dialogue between 3 parts.
Because often those imitations, we comes up with the sequences too. Sequential episodes.
Yes. So sequence is what? It's a technique to connect various keys, basically.
True.
To bridge the gap between C major and G major. You add a sequence going downward and adding somewhere F sharp.
That's right.
New accidental of the new key. So things like that comprise a prelude or a basic prelude type of writing. It could be called sometimes fantasia.
Sometimes toccata.
Sometimes toccata if it's a motoric piece. But mostly it's one and the same free writing, not based on the fugal theme. If you have your fugal theme ready for you and you created the fugue, you could simply select a key of the same fugue and maybe create a different meter. If your fugue was in a 4/4 meter, maybe prelude could have 3/4 meter and vice versa. Or the same meter could be.
Yes, I think.
But maybe different tempo.
Sure.
And think sometimes how the tempo relates to prelude and fugue. What is the relationship between the tempo? Sometimes there is.
Yes.
And most of the time there is.
And it's sort of subject that, always makes so many discussions and arguments, because everybody has its own true.
Yes, so for starters, avoid complex metrical relationships. Maybe use the same meter for the beginning, right? For your first 10 fugues and preludes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do.
Excellent. And to make it more interesting, use excursions into related keys. In a major key, you could modulate to the 2nd scale degree minor, 3rd scale degree minor, 4th scale degree major, 5th scale degree major. What else? 6th scale degree minor.
True.
That's the most common types. And what about the minor starting point?
Will be just our way around.
For example,
You will have 4th scale degree major, then 6th scale degree major. Then of course 5th degree would be major too, but the 4th scale degree would be minor.
you said major 5th scale degree.
Yes,
Why?
because the 5th scale degree is mostly major in both minor and major keys.
So if a starting point is A minor, the 5th scale degree would be
E major.
E major. Can you use E minor then?
Well, yes, you could. It wouldn't be so common, but you could do it. Of course, it would have a different, meaning.
So the same is with 4th scale degree.
Yes,
E
because,
minor.
if you use the minor dominant in a minor key, it means that you don't have a dominant chord. It means that you have a subdominant.
But I'm not talking about the chords. I'm talking about the episodes.
But
keys.
these are all related too with harmony. Don't you agree?
What about harmonic subdominant? Remember, minor 4th scale degree chord in a major key. Can it be used?
Yes,
It is related.
I think yes, it is related.
Just like major dominant in a minor key.
Yes.
Then minor subdominant in a major key.
Yes, because what I'm thinking, for example, in A minor key, if you would use the episode in E major, then you could have tonic straight away after the dominant episode, E major episode. If you would use E minor episode, then probably you wouldn't go back to the tonic episode. You would have probably to use something from the subdominant area.
Okay, guys, this was our discussion about creating the prelude. And as you see, the most important thing is to choose one rhythmical, melodical or harmonic figure and keep it throughout. And by the way, I teach this technique in my prelude improvisation formula, which is based on the Klavierbuchlein for Wilhelm Friedemann Bach. The preludes that Johann Sebastian Bach created for his eldest son. So people who want to learn to improvise like that in a freestyle, they can train from this collection as well. Okay, and please send us more of your questions. We love helping you grow. This was Vidas.
And Usha.
And remember, when you practice,
Miracles happen.